What up, Greg Los? Back at you this week. I am fresh off of going to St. Pete. I got to go to the Royal Rumble, man.
That was pretty dope.
I don't know if you know. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. I've been to WrestleMania twice. First time at the Royal Rumble. It is super nerdy. It is brings me back to like being 8, 9, 10 years old.
It's weird we both like it.
And it's like one of those things like I was like, am I going to bring this up today? And I'm like, I just don't care anymore.
I don't give a shit.
Like, Dad Gang. Shout out Dad Gang. Like, I'm a dad, and I get to do all the cool stuff with my kids that I loved when I was a kid, and now I'm not the creepy old guy because I'm bringing my kids with me.
Right. It's like I'm doing it for them. This is awesome.
This is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I know we're going to talk about some cool, unique product opportunities and products that we're seeing, but I do want to talk about some things. I was thinking about this on the way here of like lessons I learned at the Rumble that I don't want to miss. And the first is there is still like having this annual gathering of your people. And I think agencies are really good at this. SaaS businesses are really good at this. You look at like Salesforce and their big event. You look at like HubSpot and their big events. And like, but D2C brands, there's still an opportunity to bring it. First year might be 20 people, might be 50 people, might be 100 people, but getting your people into one place where they all are nerds about your thing is so powerful. I mean, this was 50,000. I get it. Wrestling's huge and all. Like, this is 50,000 people, and 25,000 of them are dressed up as their favorite character. They're wearing anyway. But like
the merch has to be so insane.
It's insane. That's the second thing I want to talk about. But the first is just like, I think there's an opportunity for D2C brands if you really want to build community, then look into annual events. I'll flip this your way. Like, have you seen any like actual D2C brands doing this? Not SaaS businesses, not agencies, not that, but like actual D2C brands that have been able to build these types of events.
So this kind of goes into not yet, but kind of one of the brands that we were going to talk about today, which is this dude, Brian Johnson, who he was a billionaire, sold, I don't know what company, but enough to make a bill. And then after that, basically decided he will never die. And so he wears this shirt that says, "Don't die." And he's just kind of like became a character. He started a YouTube and he was like just this like ripped, like 55-year-old dude that looks 38, and he just shows you all the stats. He spends an astronomical amount of money on like doctors and neuroscientists and all this kind of stuff. I bought as much as I could of his. He also like links it out. He's like, "This is what I take. This is what I eat." Like, you can copy the whole thing. He doesn't care. He's trying to like basically like open source it, right? And I mean, it's like 3,000 on subs and neuro, whatever, all this crazy stuff, right? So he did a launch. He just gave content, and basically launched like a package, right, of kind of like his morning kind of smoothie in a bowl, kind of like a acai bowl kind of thing, olive oil, and a couple of other products that kind of he's been taking. That those are kind of like the phase one.
Right, the staples.
Staples of his longevity kind of like concept, and then he's going to do more. So he had you crazy sick how he did it, and then I'll get into the community side. But crazy sick how he did it. He basically gave all his content, built a huge list, and then he's like, "Hey, I'm going to do this. I only have 5,000 spots that I can give because like that's what I bought for inventory, straight up, and it's recurring, right? So fill out all this form, blah blah, and there's 100,000 of you guys, like we'll see. 12,000 people applied, including me, and I didn't get it. I was pissed because I'm into all that weird shit, right? I have a hyperbaric oxygen chamber. I got a red light sauna. I got red light therapy at the house. I got a cold plunge. Like I'm in this game. I got a grounding mat right there. So like we've got the whole thing. I was like, dude, I got to get in. I didn't get in. 5,000 people did get in, which I forget the exact pricing, but it basically equaled to about $20 million in one day. In one day, he sold out, which is recurring, which is like, this is over a couple $100 million. Like, just fun, bam, like first launch. It's a 9-figure company, like insane. So what he's been doing is he's Bruce Wayne and like all these people in one, because he basically now has started these groups, and he'll be like, "Hey, I'm in California, I'm doing this. Let's all go for a run." And he gets like hundreds of people. Like it used to be like 50, now it's 100. Like, and they just go on like these longevity walks. And then he started this other community, and he's having an event called the Longevity Olympics. So you can sign up on, and he has everything like ranked and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he tells you how to do these tests, and you apply, you get in there, and so it's a ranking gamified system on like how technically your telomeres work and all this stuff to like see how much you're regressing on and like gaining longevity. So that's a great way to do it, right? Because like it was just, I didn't ever even think he was going to launch a product. Then he started talking about olive oil. I was like, but if you really think about it, I'm sure he's going to come out with some crazy stuff. This dude made 20 mil on better style protein with better macros, probably olive oil and a couple of other gadgets.
Those are like basic
in a day
products. Yeah. So, but what he did is he had community first.
And he built a story around it.
Yeah, man. Like that's, and again,
and that's what if, every episode, community story, be the brand. He's the face, a billionaire, the face of everything. Boom.
Yeah. And it's just like every e-com D2C founder does it the other way. They make the product first.
They want nothing to do with their face too.
Yeah, man. Like it's just, it's so wild. So I love that. So community launches, community events, going back to the Royal Rumble. The other thing, and this relates directly to what you were saying with Brian Johnson, is having multi-tier of products, right? And so we've all seen it, like the championship belts, right? They got them at Target. They're like $20, $25. At the Royal Rumble,
like 100 or something, right?
Oh, dude, they're $500.
What?
Dollars.
I think they're like next level looking, right?
They
like
are next level looking. They look pretty legit.
$500.
$500. And so I'm in the official store, right? So not like a pop-up, but the official store. And there's an entire like I'm talking like an entire section of these $500 belts. There's the Universal Championship, the United States Championship, the Seth Rollins Championship, the Intercontinental, the tag team. They have the old school NWO. They got the Eagle, the Hulk Hogan one.
Yeah.
They're all $500. All right.
And you collect them. You know those guys collect them.
So I'm like, oh, who the hell is going to drop 500? Well, half of me that whole night was like, how am I going to buy a $500 belt and like justify this to Jen? That was my whole, my thinking the whole night, right? Didn't end up doing it. And so, but as we left the store, my two kids, I had Ryder and Ashton, he was 9 and 5, and they were like, look, he's got a belt, and he's got a belt, and he's got a belt. He's got 2 belts. He's got a belt. Like, I would say.
You're just like 5, 10.
I would say 20% of the audience had a $500
It's about 5,000 people
belt. That's insane.
And that's probably every weekend. Because the Royal Rumble is
right,
big.
but you go to Raw on Monday night. You're right. There's going to be another 1,000 people.
Like,
SmackDown on Friday, and then you got these PLEs, and like, to me, it was just insane because again, you have. I bought the $35 belt for my 5-year-old, right? Yeah. But like having that next level, and then the next level on top of that, and I don't know how much it was. I didn't get that far. I didn't want to get that deep into a sales pitch.
Right.
Was then the personalization, right? Ooh. So on the side of the belt, like usually has the wrestler's name, or like so you could have like Los on the side, or Greg on the side, or like, dude, like having one.
Oh my God,
like the tag team champs of the world, Greg.
Oh my God,
someone sponsor this pod and get us some championship belts.
Now I want to do it.
But man, it's like, but it goes back in e-com land. It's like, all right, you got your standard product. What is the 10x version of that? Because again, the kiddie version's $35. This is that's more than 10x. And then you have another product that's probably 12x, which is the personalization and that whole side. And then you turn it to collect. Like, so on the D2C side, like what is like, this guy comes to mind, like Evan from Pocket Socks, makes these cool socks, right? But like, cool, I got the pack. I can buy a 3-pack for $20, $30, whatever that it is. What's the $100 sock? What's the $500 sock? Even if you never sell one.
But you do.
That's the part that I think scares everyone is like going back to the Brian Johnson thing, right? He's got this one community, he's got the next community, and wait till he has the $1 million club where, for $1 million a year, you come. I just saw this thing, it just launched. It's for like the luxury side. It's $1,000 a month luxury shopping club. All it does is it gives you a password to shop their e-commerce store. It's $1,000 a month for a shopping club. And I'm like, well, not even me. I believe that people would buy it. But that's all the questions this dude's, who's going to buy this? And he's like, I don't know, we got 20,000 members already.
What the fuck?
$200K a month just to enter the store,
dude, that's
to then buy stuff. But it's like curated for luxury and for these high-end people. And it had like an allure of privacy because if you went and bought, let's say, had these like really cool like moving things that cover your pool or your spa or like whatever, right? And they were like $10,000 or whatever. But they don't know. If, let's say, Scarlett Johansson wants to buy one, Scarlett doesn't actually buy it. The site buys it. And so that way the addresses don't leak and like they're not getting, like there's an element of privacy to it. But I was like, holy shit. Like, but again, 10x. What's your 10x?
Bulletproof
product?
Coffee started with coffee. The upsell is 40 days of Zen, which is $40,000.
Yeah.
And it's not 40 days. It's one. it's one day,
Right.
For 40 racks. And you started with coffee. I think. And who is that guy? Right? Community, personal brand. That's brands, dude. People like you and I, if we started something, we could get away with something for 10 racks or 20, right? Because we understand it's bigger than that. And a lot of times I think what people make mistake with D2C and just brands in general, they don't have a bigger goal behind it, a bigger story, a bigger, Blueprint has a big story and a big like mission and goal, right? Bulletproof, kind of the same situation. These luxury guys, like, okay, like there's something really there that like you can kind of keep following and you can do more, right? Mr. Beast, I mean, I'm sure Mr. Beast one day will launch. Just because he does so much stuff for free, he could launch, it's a $10,000 5-person experience for going to the chocolate factory that I have. Right. Bam, all day long, right? Like you can do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean Disney has that, right? Like you go.
Yeah, Club 33. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know how much hundreds of thousands of dollars it is, but and it's booked for. I think there's like 25-year wait list.
Insane.
Like what?
Insane. All right. Third point.
Yeah.
From the Royal Rumble. I think you're gonna like this one. We talked a lot about media. AI last week is emotional storytelling. Mm-hmm. And so there's two elements I want to talk about. The first, I think it's super overlooked in content, is sound and music. As soon as you hear, I hear voices, that's it. That's
Orton.
all they need. You knew exactly who it was, and you have 50,000 people who are sitting, beers in their laps, whatever it is, and jumping, screaming at the top of their lungs, right? L.A. damn. You don't understand how much sound emotionally impacts people.
You don't understand how programmed you are subconsciously.
Yeah.
At the same time.
It's insane. And you just hear that and you immediately jump up and, just there's something really, really interesting there. And I think some of the best creators in TikTok understand that with like the sound effects that they use and the ka-chings and the little dings. And, I know like with all my kids, with the video games that they play, like all the sounds that happen, like there is so much power in that. And I don't think that we take advantage enough of that and creating sound. I know Gary Vee tried for a little bit to have that little swoosh in the beginning of his videos. Yeah. I don't know. I didn't quite, but there's something powerful about music, about sound and a brand. And it's something that I don't even think I say 99.9% of everybody who's listening, myself included, don't pay attention to that at all.
Yeah, no, I think you're totally right. I mean, there's a lot of TikTok ads that are actually AI that are using like this particular like kind of like X-Files kind of theme, and usually that comes with like a warning kind of ad, right? Like, you're gonna die because this is happening and you don't even know it.
Right.
And so that starts like when you hear that sound now, you're triggered like, oh man, this is kind of an ad, but it's a story ad,
right.
And like it's dark. Like you immediately think like, and so you're kind of like intrigued. You're like, right. What's this about?
And then there's the
give
TikTok
it more time.
voice, and then there's the. So I think these things, even though they're not music, like they've trained our brain to think about things in certain ways, and I think we'd be dumb not to pay attention to that.
Dude, did you know that TikTok is actually looking at testing? I saw this I follow Gary Vee's like media guy. TikTok's looking to potentially test every single video being an ad.
I bet they could get away with it.
I think it's kind of already happening. TikTok Shop is the most subtle way of just every single thing being an ad.
I would say it's 50% of my feed right
100%.
now. Anyway, between live videos and Shop.
And right? I don't even care.
No.
Yeah, like I'm kind of about it.
Because the algorithm is so curated, I don't care.
Right.
All right. Last piece on this is long-term emotional storytelling. So there's a wrestler right now, Cody Rhodes. This has been a 2+ year journey.
Yeah, it's kind of
getting him here. So part of it is getting old, but the emotional side of like, is he going to get it? Is he not going to get it? Is he going to get it? But I think the thing that I like about it is having this goal, right, for this person that you are fighting for and you want to see them reach that goal. And bringing this to like D2C founders is like, do you have a goal? Do you have a mission? Is it like Brian Johnson, I want to help 1 million people live to 100. And all of a sudden there's a ticker on his site. And he's like, hey, we've helped 248,000 people. Like, you're rooting for this guy now, right? And so, like, and I just made that up. He doesn't actually have, but like, what is that for you that you can bring people on this journey with you? and they're fighting for you. They're rooting for you. They're buying your products because you're like, hey, I'm 3 sales away from hitting 1 million this month. And you're like, screw it, I'll buy one. Like, you know, how do you bring people on this journey with you so they celebrate with you? So it's not you at the top of the mountain saying, I'm the greatest, I did this. It's, no, we did this. And wrestling, they make you feel like I helped Cody win tonight.
Yeah.
I cheered for him and I was rooting for him. And I was, you know, it's this emotional storytelling.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, I like it. You like it. We're not weird level. Like, we don't get mad when something like, oh man, you know, it's scripted. But there's grown ass men that are like, oh no, I can't believe it. Like, and honestly, like, I look at it on a marketing angle. I'm like, that's so fire. Like that everything is done so well done for you that you're still caught up in the story, knowing the story is fake.
Right.
Like, that's how good it is. So you should really, honestly, we should call this podcast 3 Things You Could Learn from Wrestling.
Yeah.
And by the way, like, it's such a good story. Netflix is picking them up for $5 billion.
Yeah.
$5 billion.
10 years, 5 billion with a B.
Yeah, with a B.
For may I add, for one, not for, they didn't buy the business. That's for the licensing rights of one show.
To be live. And it's just Raw.
Yeah, that's what I mean. One show, right?
It's half. Yeah, it's insanity.
That's a bag.
Yeah, that's insane. I think to kind of, you know, go guerrilla with it, you know, because people are always going to be like, oh man, but I can't do that. I'm not doing that. You know, I know on Gromit there was just a group that did like a backpack, kind of like a techie backpack, right? We're friends of mine, Milad and Greg, and they could have an event, right? They could have a get together. They could like travel. They could create the whole story of like, I'm traveling, you know, kind of like TikTok people. Like, tell me where to go. Spin the globe.
Yep.
Antarctica, Africa, whatever. Just boom. I flew to Africa in my bag and start telling the story about the bag, right? The mom that is creating kitchenware, or like the pickle jar company that you have, like videos on like how she makes homemade pickles at her house, and like boom, 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 like, and then having a pickle making event, right? Just be more creative with the business. And I understand sometimes like the business doesn't have the rep, like, yeah, it's not going to make us money. And I don't think it will. Let's just be really blunt about it. And then one day it'll be the moat that makes people only buy your shit. You know, like if it's SEO, it's content marketing, like these unscalable things are the reason that you'll end up scaling for a long, sustainable time. It's not more ads. Obviously, ads are going to help with scaling and all that, but there's no moat with just ads. That's the commodity. That's the process, right? These unscalable things, this relentless focus on giving like a brand and yourself community and vision is something that a lot of people need to focus on a lot more instead of just thinking about increasing. If they really thought about increasing through slower times, more growth through community, I think it blows up. And I mean, Brian Johnson is an insane story that just took his time, said, hey, I got this thing, 20 mil, nuts.
Yeah,
it's
insane.
So we clear? We good on this one? You think?
We good, man.
Yeah.
And, like, if you're not having fun in your marketing, something's wrong, because it should not be boring. Because if it's boring to you, guess who else it's boring to?
Yeah, that's another thing. You know, we'll clear it on this one too. Also, content marketing. A lot of people, I've seen a few people do it. Like, do what we're doing and feel good about it, right? Like, I shoot a lot of podcasts with a lot of people. Like, I almost like force Greg to come. He's sick, and I'm like, you have to come today, because I know that the energy has, like, if this energy comes off through us like it is, it's gonna be bangers all the time. Right, so find 100%. Someone to have that kind of relationship with. If it's boring to you, it's boring to them, and if it's not good, you can't build community. So it all goes back and like intertwines into content, community, conversions, and getting more clicks through all of that, guys. So if you like this, subscribe, join the notifications, and we will see you guys on the next one.